So as we start this practice, take a comfortable seat on your yoga mat. Sit up nice and tall through the spine. Close your eyes or turn your gaze low. Always helpful before we start the movement. Just take in a couple of breaths, center mind and body together. For today's intention for class, find one simple word that you can repeat through the breath, through the movements, that will provide a little inspiration, provide that extra oomph to keep going. With your simple word in mind, let's open with easy movement. Drop the chin down to the chest and just rock the head from side to side. Right ear over towards right shoulder, across the center, left ear to left shoulder. Just back and forth. Find a pace that feels nice. And then keep right ear to right shoulder. Walk the left fingertips out to the side. Add the right hand on top of the head, opposite ear. And then walk the hands back to the legs. Drop chin to the chest and left ear over towards the left shoulder. Do it all on the second side, nice and easy. Breathe in and out of the nose as much as possible, as much as you remember throughout this practice. And then bring it back to the center. Lift the head, open the eyes. Change to all fours. And as you come around to all fours, as ever, spread the fingers wide, place the hands right under the shoulders, knees underneath the line of our hips. And then just our cat and cow. For this morning's practice, I'm going with a pretty, at least traditional for me, opening in our warm-ups and into sun salutations. Hoping to simplify the movement, give repetition so you can stay with your intention. Okay, downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet, let the hips kind of move from side to side, whatever feels nice. And then step the right foot all the way through to the hands for a low lunge. Line up knee over ankle, fingertip in line with the toes. Square off the hips, make the back leg straight and strong. Add the twist, right hand high. And then down dog lunge, hands to the inside, spin the back heel down. Walk the hands towards the front corner of the mat. Press the feet down and away from one another and keep most of the weight in the feet, not so much in the hands. And bring the hands back around either side of the front foot as you lift the back heel up, drop the back knee. Bring the hands to the front thigh, lift the torso. And then take the arms all the way up to the sky for a breath. Lower the hands down, make your way to downward facing dog. Step it all the way back. Second side, step the left foot through. And take the time to line it up. Keep the feet hip distance apart. Then add the twist, left hand high. And move into the down dog lunge, both hands to the inside. Spin the back heel down. Walk the hands out towards the front corner. The hips really like to move out and back here. Still square them off a bit. So there's a sense of drawing left hip back towards the right side here. And then walk the hands back in, pick up the back heel, re-rotate the hips. Back knee down, walk the hands to the front thigh, lift the torso. Take a breath there. And then lift the arms towards the sky, take a breath here. Lower the hands on either side of the foot, step it all the way back, downward facing dog. Bring the knees down, child's pose, sit back onto the heels. If the hands are forward at the 12 on a clock, walk them over towards the 2 now, so just a bit off towards the right side. Pull from left fingertips back towards the left hip. And then walk the hands back across the center, over to the second side, towards the 10 on the clock. Good, reach out to the right hand and a pull back on the right hip. Walk it to the center. Move to downward facing dog. Use that as a transition to bend the knees and walk your hands now backwards to our feet. Here at the end of the yoga mat, hang in more of a ragdoll pose, sway the hips a little bit. Feel free to hold on to the elbows to get a little extra weightiness in the upper body, hanging forward. And then a nice slow roll up to standing. Roll the shoulders up and back, forward and down. Take a walk up to the front end of the yoga mat, mountain pose. Okay, several rounds of salutation A here. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank. Lower down to the yoga mat. Peel the chest up for cobra. And change to downward facing dog. Here on the next inhale, look to your hands, and on your exhale, step, jump, or walk to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Stand up, reach the arms to the sky. Palms together, center the chest. 2 more rounds like this. Inhale, lift. Exhale, forward fold. Keep going. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank, lower down to the yoga mat. Peel the chest up for cobra. And change to downward facing dog. About 3 full breaths in down dog. And then look to the hands, step or jump forward. Inhale, half lift. Forward fold. Stand, reach the arms to the sky, palms together, center of the chest. One more full round, Surya Namaskar A. Lift the arms, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank. Lower to the mat. Cobra, little back bend in the upper body there. Downward facing dog, hips up and back. Breathe here. And then inhale, look to the hands. Exhale, step, jump, walk to the front. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Stand, arms overhead. Palms together, center of the chest. Pause here. Take a couple of breaths. Return to that intention. Notice how you feel. And then moving into Surya Namaskar B, it starts with our chair pose. Utkatasana, bend the knees, sit into the thighs, extend the arms. Still moving at that half a breath pace. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Step back, plank pose, lower down to the mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your right foot in between the hands. Let's come up to high lunge, so keeping the back heel lifted. Bring the torso upright, arms to the sky, and give it a whole breath here. Lower the hands back down. Step back to plank. Now this movement from plank down to the mat, into cobra and down dog, if the repetition of that isn't working for you, just take it out. Hold plank on toes or knees longer in that time period. Okay, second side, left foot forward into our lunge. Find the balance, come upright, stretch the arms overhead. Slow it down for a breath here. And then we're back into the flow. Hands down, step back to plank. Hold plank or add vinyasa flow. Down to the mat, cobra, down dog. There are days I enjoy all of the movement of the flow. There are days that I do not. There are pieces of the practice I like it in, pieces I do not. Allow yourself to make those shifts, practice to practice, moment to moment. Look to the hands, step or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift, forward fold. Utkatasana, stand. Palms to the chest. Go again, sit into the legs, Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank. Hold or lower down. Cobra or up dog is the straight arm, straight leg version with the hips up. And then down dog, all of us, hips up and back. Again, start right foot forward. This time, warrior one. So spin the back heel down, but still turn the toes in towards the front of the mat. Come upright, arms to the sky. So 2 flat feet, a little more ease in the balance, but definitely more work in the rotation of the trunk here. And then lower the hands back down, step back to plank. Add in the flow. Downward facing dog. Try it all on the second side. Left foot forward, back heel down, warrior one. Rise up. Hips and shoulders mostly square to the front. Lower the arms down, step it back to the mat. Cobra, downward facing dog. Breathe, steady the breath. In and out of the mouth, and then in and out of the nose. Keep it there, in and out of the nose. Next, inhale, look to the hands. Exhale, step or jump forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Utkatasana, back into your fierce chair pose. Stand up and greet hands to the center of the chest. One last round, Surya Namaskar B. Utkatasana. We've got this. Exhale, forward fold. Keep going. Half lift. Step back to plank. Lower down. Cobra. Downward facing dog. Right foot forward. Warrior one. Right away, lower the hands back down. Step back. Do a vinyasa flow. Second side. If you're going a little slower than my pace, no big deal. Find your way into warrior one. Stay for just half a breath. And then go back. Chaturanga. Cobra or up dog. Downward dog. We all return to the breath together here in dog pose. Take it in a couple more breaths. Next inhale, look to your hands, step or try a jump. Again, inhale, half lift, forward fold, Utkatasana. Stand up, palms to the center. Few breaths, check in. Close the eyes if that feels all right with you. Notice the lifted heart rate. Bit of heat, maybe a little sweat on the body. How's it helping to start to re-energize your day? From here, open the eyes if they are closed. Tree pose, balance your right foot onto your left leg. The foot can stay along the ankle, a little higher onto the calf. Skip the knee, but try putting the foot all the way up to the thigh. Find the balance. If you fall off balance, I just did, then I just return back to it. Arms overhead, big stretch and reach. Lower the right leg down. Switch to the second side, left foot onto the right leg. Stretch the arms overhead as ready. And then lower the arms, lower the leg. Shake out the legs a little bit. We're going to try one more balance pose here before we move along. Pull the right knee up and into the chest. As we take the leg out to the side, right arm to the inside of your leg, can you then flip the hand to catch hold of the outside of the foot? Other hand can go out for some counterbalance. I want to focus here on getting the right knee as much out towards the line of the right shoulder as we can. So pretty good rotation there in the hip. If you're holding there and want to go a little further, lift the heel towards the line of your knee. And then try extending the legs straighter. Again, we're trying to go for a pretty wide opening here. And then bring it all the way back down, 2 feet to the floor. Shake it out. We'll get some of this work in tree pose and then this hand to big toe work to translate further down on the mat in a moment. Try it on the second side, arm to the inside, but you try to grasp hold of the pinky toe side of the foot. If I'm not thinking too much about it, my knee will stay more forward. I'm trying to widen it out to the side for today. Again, that other arm for counterbalance, however works best for you. And then lift the heel first. Then straighten the leg more. 2 are towards straight. Doesn't need to go all the way straight by any means. Let's bring it both down to 2 standing feet. Stretch back to downward facing dog. And then lift the right leg up into the air for 3-legged dog. Bend the knee, open the hip, meaning point the knee up towards the sky. Let the foot curl more towards the left shoulder. Be careful not to droop the left shoulder down. So it is a sense of power and pushing through the left hand to keep the shoulders lifted and level. Lots of good abdominal strength that has to happen in the mix there too. Now pull the right knee up and into the chest, hover forward in plank pose. And step the right foot all the way through into our lunge. Warrior 2, spin the back heel down, open up the hips, shoulders to the side, extend the arms out in either direction. Look over the front bent knee. Try to widen the knee out so that it's pretty easy to gaze down and see your big toe. And then good old side angle pose, elbow to the knee, or the hand can go further. Stretch your left arm, top overhead, palm down. Inhale, rise back up to Warrior 2. Okay, with the hips and shoulders staying open to the side, just slide the left hand down so that this is more of a side bend. Take the right arm up and a little bit back. One thing that helps me keep this focus open in the torso is look down your left hand rather than trying to look up. And then cartwheel the hands all the way down around the front foot. Step back to plank. Side plank, balance on your right hand, the outer edge of the right foot. Stack the feet and lift the left arm up to the sky. Now I want you to step your left foot forward, use it like a kickstand, and give a couple of pulses of your hips higher up, lower, higher, Lower, and then try to pulse up and stay with the hips lifted. Maybe even turn the gaze and place your left foot into tree pose. Lower both hands down to the mat, foot still in tree, point it out to the side, and then shoot the leg back to full plank, downward facing dog. Now we have a whole second side. Lift the left leg up, three-legged dog. Bend the knee, open up, point the knee more towards the sky, the foot closer to the right shoulder. And again, it wants to make the right shoulder dip, the left shoulder lift. Do more push into the right thumb and first finger to square and lift the right shoulder. Keeping that, come forward to plank pose, pull the left knee into the chest, hover, and step it all the way through. Warrior two, spin the back heel down, line up about heel to heel or to the middle of the back foot, and come upright. Big expanse of like energy and focus of the body towards the long edge of the mat, shoulders over the waist. Even if you gaze forward over the front hand. And then change to your side angle, elbow to knee, top arm, palm down overhead. Big reach. How do you see your intention for this practice coming through in these standing, steady poses? As you come back to warrior two, slide the right hand down your leg. Again, I like to look down at the back hand as you lift the left arm further up to the sky so that we get into the bigger reach and side bend along the left side here of the torso. And then take it down, hands around the front foot. Step it back to plank. Okay, side plank, it's left hand. Stack the feet in the beginning if possible. Right arm up to the sky. So you've got a breath like that. And then step the right foot into the kickstand. Now you get to push a lot of weight into the right foot to do the little hiccups with the hips. Pulse up and down a couple of times. Try to keep the weight from getting heavy in the wrist or shoulder by keeping the hips lifted. And then can that right foot set into tree pose, and the right hand can help you. Get it onto the leg and then re-extend. Set both hands down, keep the leg in tree, point the knee out to the side. Plank pose with tree. Shoot the leg back, full plank. And rest the knees down. Hands to your feet, fold over in child's pose. Give yourself a moment, take it in. Roll to sit back on your heels. So bring the torso upright, sit back on the heels. Nice easy twist. This is feeling intense on my knees today, so I'm going to come up to kneeling. Feel free to change. The other way. Okay, as you come back to neutral, crawl out to all fours. We've been working on these tabletop balances this month, so we'll continue here. Right leg up and back, left arm out in front. And then switch arms, set the left hand down, pick the right hand up. Notice how that changes. A little opening in the hips, but still trying to rotate down. Now, can you keep the right hand lifted, but drop the right knee and lift the left leg up? So you're back to opposite arm and leg. And then switch the hands, right hand down, same arm and leg, left arm, left leg lifted. Keep the left arm up, set the knee down, and then two hands down. Knees, chest, chin, 8-point pose. So if you tuck the toes under, we've got toes, knees, hands, that's our 6 points. And then 7 and 8, we add the chest and the chin, keep the hips lifted. And then from there, go all the way flat down to the belly. Superhero pose, reach the arms out in front of you. And lift everything that you can up off of the mat. Okay, here's a funny one. Roll towards your right side and try to balance just on your right side, but still like you're in hero pose. Superhero pose. And then go back to the belly and try rolling onto the second side. Balancing all along the left edge of the body. Let's do it one more time across the center and onto the right. Just roll it around on the yoga mat. Through the belly, off to the left. And then back to the center. Okay, you're gonna roll all the way over towards the right side. Set up for endless pose, it's Anatasana. You can prop the head with the hand. I like to be literally on the slimmest edge of the back of the mat so that I can see one line from the toes to the front elbow as much as possible. And then you go back into tree pose. It's left foot, the top leg. If you happen to be on the other side, no big deal, because of course we'll do both. And finding the balance there, the top hand along the mat can always help out and stay. This is why I was mentioning that pretty wide opening and rotation through tree pose and our hand to foot balance. We're going to try that here. Try holding on first 2 fingers and thumb around the big toe, keeping the knee pointed straight up towards the sky. And then straighten the leg as much as it will go. Don't roll back. Stay more forward like you would fall down towards the mat, towards your belly, rather than back onto the butt. A trickier pose than it looks. Let the leg go down. And then roll over. Try it on the second side. Line up, left side of the body all along the edge of the mat. And to make this more doable, you would just pike the feet a little bit forward. My reasoning for not suggesting that in the beginning is that the worst thing that happens is that you just roll back or roll forward, but you're already flat down on the mat. So I like the extra challenge of trying to constantly work the straight line. Okay, right foot goes into tree pose. Really gaining stabilization, strength in the abdomen, the whole core of the body for this pose. Hold on to the right toes and stretch the legs straighter as works. If you happen to have a lot of flexibility, range of motion here, don't try to pull the foot closer to the head. It just goes straight up to the sky. think this practice is about finding balance. Hyperflexibility is not balance. Lower it down. Roll back to the belly, push back to child's pose. From child's pose, go to downward facing dog. One more time, give a big three-legged dog, right leg up into the air, stretch high. Step the right foot forward into the low lunge. We're going to repeat our opening lunge series. Just take into account how it feels after about 45 minutes of movement. Do it again. Right hand up to the sky. And then down dog lunge, spin the back heel down, reach the hands out along the front corner of the mat. As you bring the hands back in around the front foot, pick up the back heel, drop the back knee. Anjaneyasana, send the arms up to the sky as you send the hips a little lower down and forward. Certainly a little more room and ease for me in the body the second time around. I hope you find the same. Okay, go back to downward facing dog. Lift the left leg high, three-legged dog. Step it all the way forward into your low lunge. Take the left hand up, twisted lunge. Down dog lunge, both hands to the inside, spin the back heel down, walk it out. And bring the hands around the front foot. Pick up the back heel, drop the back knee. Strong squeeze of the front heel back, back knee forward to gain energy and lift all the way through the body. And then as the hips slide a little more down and forward, take the arms overhead so as not to dip or sink into the low back. Lower the hands back down around the front foot. Okay, from here we're going right into pigeon pose. So if you pick up the back knee and then pull the left knee into the chest, hovering above the mat for a moment, and then drop it down, knee towards the left wrist, heel towards the right hip, and come down to the forearms. And here just kind of settling into a comfortable pigeon pose. If you don't find comfort folding forward in pigeon, switch over to lie on your back and do the figure 4 shape in the legs. And that will target the same major muscle group in the outer hip. I'm going to throw a little something at you for the transition here. Stay on your forearms, tuck the back toe, lift the right knee off of the ground, and can you slide the left leg back to forearm plank? Either hold forearm plank or a few hip dips side to side, getting in some excitement for the obliques here. I'm going 8 times side to side, and then back to the center, and then slide the right knee forward into pigeon. I usually get it about half of the way down on the forearms, and then adjust back to the hands. Find the full pose and come back down to the forearms. And again, once you're here for several breaths, just release into it. And then the last major movement, ask again, think stronger, push through the forearms, tuck the back toe, lift the back knee, little gut punch into the belly and step the right foot back. You hold it or add in 8 more dips to the right, left, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Set the knees down, push it back to child's pose. From child's pose, change, do one more relaxing, unwinding movement. I'm going to lie on my back and do the supine twist. You could join me or do something different. Of course, do both sides if you've got a 2-sided action. And full Shavasana. Stretch your legs out. If you prefer to take a seat for today's Shavasana, feel free. And there's still focus for the breath, focus for the stillness. But make sure that focus has a soft edge now. You're always welcome here in your own space, your time to stay there a bit longer. I will bring us back up now. As you find a seated position, draw your palms together. Just a simple outward sign to give thanks to yourself, thanks to each other, and for this practice. Close in the sound of Om to help send that gratitude forward into the rest of this day. Namaste.